Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning, good morning. Oh, nicely refreshed after the weekend. It was much needed. Hope you're all doing well. I'm going to steal this off Mr. GM, but it's true, so it can't be denied. It is Monday, which means the War Within, not even pre-patch, the War Within goes live next week. Woo! It's so close. It's so close. It's, obviously, if you have shelled out for early access, of course, that is. If not, you'll have to wait till next week. But the week after. But it's close. It's close now. Very close. It's starting to feel real. I am not prepared. I'm not prepared. I'm grossly underprepared. If I'm going to be truthful, I'm grossly underprepared. I have a lot of knowledge on stuff about the expansion, but I have in no way, shape or form put any of that into anything cognitive that is going to be useful for when the expansion goes live. To be fair, that's a lie. I've sorted my bags on about 2 characters. So that's about the extent of the actual preparation I've done. I still have no idea what profession I'm going to focus on, or what professions I'm going to focus on, I should say. I still have no idea if what character I'm even playing. I'm aware that I will be playing a hunter. The question is just which hunter. Oi, oi, oi. Dance. There we go. No idea what character I'm actually going to play. Whether I choose to play Manthe, my main hunter, or whether I'm going to want to do slightly more sweaty, degenerate things that will still require me to do profession shuffling. And if that is the case, then well, maybe I play Ranthius instead, but he's still in Remix Purgatory, so I can't do anything with him yet. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Started moving characters over to Orgrimmar Stormwind, emptying out their crafts into the warband. But yeah, that's the kind of smart stuff, right? That's the kind of smart stuff you should be on to. I'm just trying to figure out exactly how I actually plan to play. I think I know most everything I need to know, within good reason, about what's coming. This character today, though, is here to test something. You may, those of you who are smart enough may have figured out why he's called what he's called. This is my plan of simulating a tool mule. Try saying that 3 times after a few drinks. Civ, welcome in. Good morning, good morning. Welcome Civ and Civ's friends. Good to see you all. Welcome, welcome. You've caught me right at the beginning. I'm doing my Monday morning intro. So you haven't missed much yet. But welcome in. Thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate it. The tool mules are going to be very useful if you can get 450 Artisans Acuity on them within a reasonable amount of time. I don't expect it to be free, I don't expect it to be instant, but you need roughly 450 Artisans Acuity. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but 450 is the number that I'm going for. You often need 150 Artisans Acuity to buy the recipe, and then you need 300 to make the recipe. And the concept here is that your main puts in an order and you just like provide them with it. That's kind of like they're just a disposable character in that regard. You level them up, you play them, you get the Artisans Acuity, you get them into the position to craft the tool, then you craft the tool for the main, and then you might as well delete the character. Not actually deleting the character, mind you. There are things you can do with them after, but it's an optimization all the same. 450 is doable. Yeah, I agree. I'm pretty sure I have a strong idea of how it's done. I'm actually relatively convinced you can do it with just the gathering professions. Herbalism, mining, and skinning. I think you should and could quite comfortably be able to get 250 artisans Acuity of those 3 professions relatively efficiently. And then you head over to Dornogal and pick up the profession bag for 200, and then that's your 450. Is my theory here. But we're going to test this. It gives me an opportunity to do a bit of herbing and mining as well. But that's the plan, that's the plan. Finished up the breakfast stream, doing some daily stuff. Get the chores out the way, that's the plan. Good job. I hope you had fun. I hope you had fun. But that's the plan for today. The plan for this week is there won't be a stream tomorrow, nor will there be a stream on Thursday, unless something really majorly important jumps out that we need to talk about. The plan is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this week for the streams. I have to cut the streams down a little bit at the moment because I have to put a little bit more time and effort into fixing the guide, getting the YouTube videos sorted, last minute preparations, that sort of stuff, because there's plenty of time for streaming ungodly hours once the game goes live. That's my plan, at least, anyway. And quick disenchanting for some knowledge points too. Yeah, there's a few things you can very quickly cycle through to hopefully make that 450 pretty fast. If you can get it done in a few hours, which I suspect you probably can, if you can get it done in a few hours, then the whole process of muling tools to your mains won't be that gross. Plus, I wouldn't necessarily say that you'll be able to make gold when doing it, but it should be relatively cost neutral, because if you're going to do it via gathering, you're going to spend a couple of hours gathering, which is worth something in itself at the beginning of the expansion. Let's say you get 30, 40, 50k gold an hour just by doing your basic gathering anyway, minus the cost of any materials you might need to level up a profession or something quickly. I think it's probably not going to physically cost you anything and might actually be making you something, but I need to fix a few things first. Let's get this. This is a brand new dude that I've just made because we've got to start somewhere. Obviously, I am level... I do have adventure mode unlocked. There's no way to really easily turn that off. Plus, I have 10% experience gain because I've leveled a few characters on the beta anyway. But none of that matters. That's not really what we're testing. 350 was taken. Well, we need 450 because we need 450 artisans Acuity. So that's what we're aiming for. 450 artisans Acuity. Let's sort some bars and stuff. Need one of you, one of you, one of you, and maybe one of you. No, not one of you. You can go away. Let's get some buttons. Buttons, give me the buttons. You're a number 4. Nobody cares about wing clip. Okay, let's sort the buttons that are already here. I really wish the spell book was smaller, you know. I like the fact that you can take it half the way and that you can drag things over your bars, but most people, if they're smart at least, have slowly but surely moved their buttons closer to the middle of the screen. Now you can't see the damn things. Or even just make it so that we can move this by default. I know there's add-ons. But... kill command is one of you. Get rid of that. Put kill command up there. You go away completely. You go over there. 4 can stay there. That's a bank thing. Primal Rage is usually F1. Nobody cares about wing clip. Freeze trap can go down here. We don't really use it. Unless we absolutely have to. Same with tar trap. I'm the worst hunter in the world because I don't use half the buttons. But get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. No one's actually done an Azurite. I always call it want to call it Azurite for some reason. Artisans Acuity shuffle vid yet. Probably do big numbers. Well, I don't want to. It's difficult because everybody's usage for the Artisans Acuity is actually going to be slightly different. Because depending on what profession and what tool you're trying to mule to your main character, your mileage may vary. It might, you might need to do slightly more, you might need to do slightly less. Well, I've kind of shied away from it a little bit, but You go over there. Turtles usually shift F. I'm missing a lot of buttons. A lot of buttons. Shift mouse wheel up. I need bend pet on Q. That's mouse wheel down. Counter shot is on E. Steady shot is stinky. Disengage. Trank shot. I think I've decided trank shot's going to be 5. I've never quite decided what goes on button 5. Certainly I've never really had a good use for shift 5. Bestial Wrath, shift 3. Call of the Wild, shift 4. That'll do. I think that's everything, isn't it? No traps, trank shot or interrupt for me. Just go pew pew whilst my pet tears everything apart. Yeah, I have to keep interrupt on my bar. I draw the line. I draw the line somewhere, but wondering if Dalaran being destroyed, are the Legion and Northrend versions still there? Yes, they are. Yeah, they're in different time zones, apparently, theoretically. But right, yeah, I need to simulate what we're going to do on a mule. I think the first thing you're probably going to do is fly straight to Dornogal, honestly. Fly straight to Dornogal, pick yourselves up. Oh, we'll use that, because that's a cool mount. Why not? I think you're going to fly straight to Dornogal. Probably get your first couple of professions, pick up the profession bag, get yourself en route nice and quickly. I need to go get some daytime potions as well. I don't like the fact there's permanently nighttime on the beta. Just because NA's in bed doesn't mean it have to be dark, does it? Where's the bank?
My
Crash
directive
landing.
is to serve you. My directive has been fulfilled.
Right. Daytime! Beautiful. Much better. Do I think we start with herbing and mining, or do we pick up skinning first? Do we pick up skinning and enchanting, or do we leave skinning and enchanting to be if we need them sort of situation? I reckon we just pick up herbalism and mining to begin with. Satchel of ore, satchel of tailory stuff, satchel of leatherworky stuff. Is any one of these going to be more useful than the other? Quick artisans acuity if need. Well, I guess in theory, the bag you're going to pick is going to be dependent on what tool you're trying to make, I guess. You'd pick a profession you'd pick the one that benefits the profession that makes the tool that you're trying to do this whole thing with. Is probably the smart play there, isn't it, really? Which means, I don't know, basically nothing.
I have
What to you?
my prices to be reasonable.
You again. Get the ore one, because why the hell not? Opens the bag. 200 artisans acuity, a soul sigil, some iron claw ore, and some bismuth. Okay. Well, that's the start. We're up to 200 already. Can't argue that one, can we, really? And we got some materials under our belt. 250 to go. Is the Weaver line tradable, or is it character warbound? Very good question. I can't off the top of my head remember. How do you get rid of map pins? Shift click them, or shift right click them, I think. Right, let's just go herbing and mining, because I reckon along with finding everything for the first time and getting the weekly knowledge points for herbing and mining, I reckon you can probably get 250 just from these two without too much stress. Herbalism's in here. You doing? Dude. Now our aim is to just go pick up one of everything. We're gonna need these two down here. Herb journal, mining journal. Put the overload buttons up here somewhere. When we get them. Oh yeah, that's the difference, isn't it? So there's 3 ores, 4 different types. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 5 is 60. Plus, that's 60 artisans acuity for mining. I mean, I could just do the maths on this and figure this out, but I want to like actually visualize it. More importantly, I want some video footage of it. Is Streamlabs not awake this morning? Why is Streamlabs not doing Streamlabs things? Fix Streamlabs. Enjoyed the YouTube videos on leveling professions. Any idea when the cooking one will be up? The cooking will probably be last. I'll be honest with you. It will probably be last. Whilst I understand that everybody will do cooking, it's really straightforward. You're not dealing with too much, and it's not high priority, unfortunately. I'll be truthful with you. Cooking will last. Before the expansion goes live, if I can really get ahead of the curve on what I need to do in this next week. If I get behind, then maybe not so much. Why has Cloudbot randomly decided to turn himself off? This is why I've got to get rid of Streamlabs, because it's just not reliable. It should work now. There we go. It's putting silly percentages at the beginning again for some reason. This is another thing about Streamlabs. It's just stupid. I'll change it soon. Okay, so yeah, there's 3 different materials: bismuth, ironclaw, acuite. I don't know if you get a knowledge point for finding a null stone. I don't think you do. Times the 4 or 5 different variations of them, maybe 6 different variations of. Yeah, I could and should probably just do the maths on this, shouldn't I? There's a lot more for herbalism, and there's a lot more early artisans acuity you can get for herbalism. Because there's just a lot more variations of everything. Does Gathermate work yet, by the way? Has anybody tested Gathermate? Well, I tell you what, there's only one way to find out, isn't there? First, update everything. Do we know how many acuity we can eventually get with an all-profession shuffle? No. No idea. No idea. I'm still thinking that an all-profession shuffle is even outside the realms of my sweatiness, and I'm willing to go pretty sweaty. Gathermate had an update, at least. Gathermate has had an update to 11.2. That's seemingly a good start. I wonder if there was some new Get Gold Quick guide popping up yesterday. 4 new cross-realm people trying to sell bags all of a sudden. I saw something somewhere. Reddit, maybe. I think there was a thread over on Reddit that people were talking about how can I practice, how can I get into cross-realm selling or something. It wouldn't have surprised me if bags was a suggested way to at least dip your toe in the water. I did see something somewhere.
Let's make sweet, sweet profit together.
11.0.2. Does that mean that Gathermate just straight up works then? Be nice if it did. I guess we're not going to find out until we go pick something up, are we? Hibbo with the Prime, thank you very much. Good morning, good morning. Welcome in. Let's also make sure I've got it switched on, I do. Artisans Acuity times 2? What? Discovering Iron Claw and discovering Rich Iron Claw in one go. Okay. Makes sense. More importantly, is there an icon on my map there? Now, no. Add-ons. Aha. If I don't turn Gathermate on, it's... Oh, Gathermate is on. Well, that doesn't seem to have the new herbs. They seem to be in expansion order rather than alphabetical order, which means the new ones should be at the top and the new ones are not there. So my assumption is going to be that although it seems it claims it's updated for 11.0.2, it actually hasn't. Okay, so Gathermate still doesn't work. Be a Blessing Blossom. Oh, no, I thought that was a mining node then. It's not. It's a Tweety Bird. Penguin did a guide that was in WoW Economy. Ah, well that would also do it.
Had to leave their tools behind.
Aha, an easy mine one.
Please retrieve them.
Actually, thinking, brain just thinking. At what point do we get overloads? Okay. I'm just thinking if you overload them, do you get a knowledge point and then in turn Artisans Acuity for the overload as well? Don't boo me, don't boo me. Yes, gotcha. Easy mine bismuth. Can you use Sky Golem for herbs? I could use the Sky Golem, yes. There's a good reason why I don't use the Sky Golem. And it's because I absolutely hate the way that it flies. Although saying that, has it changed? Has its flight style changed now that we have dragon riding? Or does it still sway around like an absolute moron? There's only one way to find out, I suppose. Okay, I'm actually thinking I could possibly live with that.
I don't have a target.
Mantheus farming? Hey, get used to it. Get used to it. I missed out on some big bucks at the beginning of Dragonflight because I didn't pay anywhere near enough attention to gathering. Even though it's not my forte, it's not my speciality. Oh, the Sky Golem is actually usable now. Oh! Oh, beautiful.
Your wallet? Are you
Oh.
just glad to see me?
I can actually
I
use the
hope.
Sky Golem. Eruptor with a Prime, thank you very much. Good morning, good morning. Oh, I don't know why I'm picking up the Disturbed Earths, but... How do you teleport to the new zone? When I make a character, Khadgar's quest, which teleports to the new zone, doesn't seem to work for me at least. You got to make sure you're on the right realm. If you're on the these go to 11 realm, you can't get to the new zones. That's the level 80 profession and like Mythic Plus testing realm. You want to be on one of the other three.
Need to target something first.
Wow, okay. The Sky Golem's actually usable now. He doesn't sway around half as much, which is nice. Crystallized Iron Claw, more Artisans Acuity. I should point out, I don't know how many people had spotted this, but you're only gaining 3 per, it's not 5. But they've also thought about people doing this, you know. Only getting 3 Artisans Acuity first time adventure mode find thing, whatever you want to call it. Which is going to change the numbers a little bit. Clearly after them being pushed to oh shit, these are level 80s. Oh, and Feign Death didn't work. Okay. Got their level 80s. Surely after their first look at the treasures, realizing that, oh my god, people are going to farm the crap out of Artisan Security again, they've gone through and they've made some subtle changes somewhere else as well. Seeing how easy it is to grind out the extra acuity. That's the plan. That's the plan. We're at 218 in about 20 minutes. Now, can I get these without aggroing these fellas? Probably can't get those without aggroing those fellas, can I? We might have to leave that one alone. Shame, I kind of need that, but if I can't get to it, I can't get to it. It is what it is. Yeah, that was the 200 base for free. Yeah, sorry, I should probably have stated that. 200 of it was just for going to Dornogle. Are we getting overloads yet? When did we get overloads? I can't remember. I mean, the nice thing for me is that if you're doing this early enough, it will still be of value to you because, you know, literally any herbing and mining at the beginning is money. Even if you're not great at it yet, still money. Any info about Profession Masters? Well, no, not a single time have I seen them mentioned by anybody in the community this entire test phase. So either, I don't know how many people are in the Discord at the moment, but like either everybody that's in the Discord combined has not found them, or they just straight up don't exist, which I think is probably closer to the truth. There's my first Deep Grove petal. I think you should be spending your mining herbing knowledge as you get it. Yes, true. There is possibly a way you could spec into mining to actually improve this process initially. Maybe a reduction on overload or something, maybe. Like I said, you don't try and optimize shit on the first go. Just get it done. Get it done on the first go, see how it feels, and then optimize it if you feel you need to optimize it. So Somebody said that professions are locked in early release. He couldn't bring up any source at the moment, don't know anything about it. Yeah, most people are talking out their ass. Most people don't know. In fact, I can tell you categorically, nobody knows anything. There's been no official news from Blizzard regarding what's going to be locked and what hasn't been locked. So, like, anybody that's stating something is stating something without being able to cite it, so... There was a the PC gamer thing, right? Let me just put that into context for people who are listening right now. There was a PC gamer interview about 2 days after the announcement of the expansion, because of course when they announced the expansion, we also found out about the early access business. So this was from way back in November. There was an interview with Ian with PC Gamer. And this was when everybody found out that early access is, you can buy early access, and people were pissed, quite rightly. And so he basically said something along the lines of that, you won't be able to gain any significant player power during early access. There'll be things such as Mythic Plus dungeons, and I think he slipped in the word profession knowledge, which is probably what's getting people's knickers in a twist. The point is twofold. Really, it was a PR damage limitation piece. He was speaking off the cuff. I don't think he'd really planned for that question even. Maybe he planned for it a little bit, but the point still stands. It was over 6 months ago. By the time the expansion goes live, that information and that interview will be like 9 months old. We'll have had alpha, we'll have had beta, they'll have built the entire thing. It's not reliable, it's just too old. Like, there is a point where data is too old to be considered reliable. So, as far as I'm concerned, until Blizzard actively come out in the next few days, or, you know, well, presumably next few days, actually. Until they come out and say, this is what you can and this is what you can't do, I'm going to assume you can do everything. From what I've seen, there's been nothing from Blizzard stating what is and what isn't coming. So we're all guessing. You can get knowledge points, but you can't use them in early access, which is fair. We don't even know that. Like, this is my entire point. We don't even know that. The only thing that has ever been said about what's going to be restricted and what's not is from a basically 9-month-old interview. It's not a reliable source. Till we get a blue post, don't believe anything you hear. It's not reliable until we get a blue post. You can guess, and you can guess whatever you like, but please be aware that everybody is guessing. Nobody knows the answer. So when somebody claims something, you know, unless they work for Blizzard, it's kind of, you know, take it with a pinch of salt. Is it worth it to do all the professions on the shuffle? Well, see, there's two different types of artisan acuity shuffle, really. If you're looking to gain as much as you humanly can for the purpose of, like, a main character, and you're going to mule in tools from other characters, more is just more. There's no denying more is more. A full profession shuffle is going to get real expensive, though. It's not exactly free to level up professions at the best of time, and the way that you're doing the Artisans Acuity Shuffle isn't even leveling the professions in a price optimal way. It's actually super inefficient to craft one of everything for the purpose of leveling, and that's what you're trying to do with the shuffle. So there comes a point, there's a point of diminishing returns here for some people, that the cost of shuffling through all of the professions just to get a small handful of Artisans Acuity will come to a point where people will be like, nah, this is ridiculous now. And if you can't instantly use that Artisan's Acuity on something, you know, every day you don't use it or every one you're short, you're also fundamentally losing out on its effectiveness and reason for you to do it. I'm out of vigor. I'm out of vigor. Oh, I died. No wonder it's dark again. Whoops. I'm also wondering if I should be cautious about which one of the catch-up things I use. Since... sorry, the knowledge points from the professions I use when trying to do this number, because catch-up is active on the beta when in week 1 it clearly won't be. There are things I can get now that I wouldn't actually be able to get when the expansion launches. Probably worth paying attention to. I'm also wondering if I should start actually skipping something. In fact, whilst I still need points to level the profession, I should pick up everything. I think I'd prefer if professions were locked in early access. That way I could really dial in my leveling. I'm not convinced they will lock basically anything off. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure it'll be, because when Blizzard in any way, shape or form talks about player power, they are 99 times out of 100 talking about gear. Like, they don't consider the player power of being able to play with professions and like make gold. They don't consider that in the same category of player power, even though clearly having more gold is worth more from a power perspective, because you can then just go out and buy the best gear. But usually when they talk about player power, they're talking about direct gear acquisition. So not having the best items dropping from the rarest of rares, not having like mythic dungeons open in early access, not having the like strong weekly quests available, but weekly quests that could gain you like some sort of a reputation advantage or something. I don't think they consider the professions to be even remotely close to any of that, which is why I kind of think they're just going to leave professions.
I need a target.
Just go. You know, let's just go. I don't think there's not going to be that much of a kickback for Blizzard if they there's not going to be that much of a kickback if they, oh my god. Go on, go boom. Am I meant to get in here and tag these now? I am, aren't I? It's going to go boom. It's going to go boom. It got me. It went boom. Overloading those is really fun. They're really fun. This is where I kind of forget every time that you meant to harvest them fast. That would have been an easy way to get Acuity and stuff as well, actually. Should have taken advantage of that one. Or it's about I'd put my money on not limiting professions. Yeah, they never pay anywhere near enough attention to professions to then start limiting them as well. That's crazy business. We'll put this down here so we can see it. Herb. Other herb. Random. Yeah, exactly. Professions aren't the pillar like they used to be. Like they used to be. Lol. There's another one of these. Oh, I can't overload it now. I'll just have to do it normally. Don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me. God damn. Oh, flipping hell. My pet. Yeah. That's not going to hit me. One. This is where deafness comes in. Actually doing it faster. Wow, you son of a bitch. Shit. Leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. Hey, gotcha. We got here. Let's kill you. Can you climb onto the ore node? I've not actually tried. I've not done anywhere near enough to try and gamify those. That's a good suggestion, though. Might be able to. Just like an anti-bot tactic. Oh, definitely, yeah. The thing is, it's not that anti-bot. It just kills them. It just... Whoa, hang on. I need to overload on this one.
Let's make sweet.
Actually, the first
profit
overload
together.
on stuff also doesn't appear to... First overload doesn't appear to give Artisans Acuity either. There's no strict need to overload on everything as well. So you do just genuinely need to just find everything. Find all the variations of Myco Bloom, Blessing Blossom, Aratha's Sphere, so on and so on. Saranuva with the 20 months. My man, welcome in. Good morning, good morning. Hope you're well. Coffee's up to you. Bit of Barbie girl. Hey, it's Monday morning. It's how we rock. Considering the head start thing, is it worth buying mats to level professions, or is it fine farming it myself to save money? I'm not incredibly rich. I'm going to be... I try to be as truthful as I can on this channel. If you're not incredibly rich, you cannot perceivably do the head start thing very easily. By the time you've farmed enough of the materials to do it, you'll be behind. Like, the advantage will likely have gone. This is a real first day or two scenario. I also want to point out that before you can do any of this reliably, you need to get to level 80 first on one character. So that's going to take you a day or so for most people. Early expansion material prices are mental. Leveling professions for the purpose of gaining maximum artisans acuity out of them is a very expensive way to level professions. Because you're not crafting in an optimal fashion. Crafting one of everything is always expensive. Like a multiple level expensive. If it costs you 50k to level it in an optimal way, you could probably be looking at 70, 80 to 100k if you're going to craft one of everything first for acuity. And if you're going to at any point cheap out, then every time you cheap out, you are losing yourself some of the advantage. So, like I said, it's kind of your call how aggressive you go with it. But just, you know, just be aware that it's not going to be free to do this. What you're doing is you are investing a lot of time, effort, knowledge, and gold for the potential to be ahead of somebody else. And for that, and for being ahead to actually be a significant advantage. We don't know. It's a massive gamble right now. But the only way you find out if that gamble pays off is to do it. XP for gathering seems similar. I'm not entirely sure. I did a little bit of a test, but ages ago, on how much leveling you can do with gathering. It's a very slow and steady way to do it. I wouldn't probably recommend it long term, but it's an option. It knocked my sky golem out of the sky. Right, I should be able to unlock a spec point in a minute for these two professions. Wondering if there's anything of value there. Kazalgar herbalism specs. I think we need some notes for this, don't we? 450A mini guide. Step 1. Collect. Why am I not doing this on screen? Collect. Shit, I can't remember the name of the quest. What was the name of the quest, boys and girls, that gives you the bag? Collect profession. Bag from your goal. Fly around, collect, hunting, or one of each type of material node. One type of material node is important there, e.g. Myco, bloom, rich, Myco, bloom, etc. Five skill whilst gathering herbs. Botany. Which one is the one that gives you... Gathering herbs in Kazalgar will replenish 1 vigor. That's probably the first one you want to unlock. Learn how to overload empowered herb. See, I still don't understand this because I've got the ability. I wonder if this ability is considered a warbound ability, which is why I've already got it and didn't need to unlock the tree to get it. It doesn't actually offer... Overloading doesn't actually give any tangible benefit. You don't get a bonus knowledge point, nor do you get any additional artisan's acuity for the first time you overload on something, apparently, by the looks of things. Obviously, yeah, if you're not... Depending on what type of flying you're using. You won't get old flying, though, until you've at least done the Pathfinder achievement. So the chances are you're doing this before you've got the Pathfinder achievement finished. Pathfinder requires you basically to lore master the zones. Complete the campaign, explore the world, lore master most of it. It's not totally lore mastering each zone, but it's doing most of the quests in most of the zones. If you're doing this tool, mule, shuffle business, you're probably doing that before you've actually got Pathfinder. We're likely to get to 100 skill anyway, so I don't think it really matters. I'm going to unlock botany first, just to get the deafness. And replenishment of vigor. I'm not going to point any points into it, mind, but... Like I said, your goal here is that you're not building the best herbalist and you're not building the best miner. You're just harvesting it for its artisan's acuity. So do what you need to do to get that, and then you peace out. You're going to drop these professions in a minute anyway, so... Where you need a weak aura as a checklist for which ones you still need. That would be very handy, wouldn't it? I wish I was better with weak auras. I wonder if it's about time for me to figure out how to be the master of weak auras. Not that I'm fantastic with coding in any way, shape or form, but I'm sure I could pick up Lua pretty fast if I wanted to. Maybe that can be a side hobby, a project. I could teach you. Well, I know we were talking about this the other day. That there comes a... There's part of me that wish I could just pay somebody enough money that would make it valuable for them to do it. You know, I wish I had. I wish I had deeper pockets to fund stuff like that. For example, I really do wish from time to time I could invest more into this. I'm lucky, very lucky, that I'm now at a point where I can actually consider this a job, and it makes me enough money that I can somewhat live off it. An imperfect nullstone, but on the flip side, I don't end up with enough spare money at the end of the month to be funding bonus projects or hiring second, third, fourth members of staff. But when the day comes... Oh! Okay. Whoops. It's going to be quite tricky to get out of here now. I forget this area is a level 80 area. Oh, now it's dark again. Flipping hell. Are these still level 80s? Yeah, or at least they're elites. Let's not be here. That badly. Easy bismuth? Have I done an easy mine bismuth before? Yeah, not with you around. Oh dear God. Yeah, this bit's pretty much a no-go area, honestly. Crystallized Aratha Spear? That sounds like one we probably haven't had before. No, we had, apparently. Yeah, this is where you might end up spending too much time doing this unless you can easily keep track of which ones you've found and which ones you haven't. They're herbalism ones, they're mining ones. I guess you kind of got a half... Can I make this mini? Oh, no, then it doesn't show... Well, that's annoying. I was hoping that making it small would show this bit. Then I can keep track of which ones I've found and which ones I haven't. You say you wanted to make? Yeah, a weak aura that just tells me which herbs and ores I still need for first time gather bonuses. Obviously, if you're picking herbalism and mining long term, it doesn't matter. But there's so many different combinations that it's difficult to remember exactly which ones you need and which ones you haven't. The smart thing, actually, is to make your own list and just cross them off as you find them. That would probably be more than sufficient. It doesn't need fancy weak auras. Obviously, a tracker up here that just did it for you would be nice, but I could do it in Notepad. Just cross them off. If first time gathered, it shows up in the recipe list for herbalism. Yeah, so if it's in your journal, you found it, right? Even the unlearn, because it's not technically an unlearned thing, they don't show in your journal at all until you've at least found them once. So keeping track of which ones you've found and which ones you haven't can be a bit of a challenge. I suspect the first time finds are also considered quests, so I guess they have a quest ID. So tracking them that way is probably the way you go, but I could also be talking rubbish. Spore-fused lure drop. Now that's definitely one we haven't found. I'm not even sure we found a lure drop, never mind a spore-fused one, so yoink. I can't remember if I meant to do it. No, you're meant to avoid these, aren't you? These the ones you're meant to avoid? I can't remember. I've not played herbalism and mining for ages. Where's that lure drop? Down? Are you going to be in this cave? Oh, dearie me. Okay, hello. That is dead. Of course he is. Any info on concentration regen? 250 a day, roughly. Or 4 days for full bar. The exact maths is 10 per hour. So it's actually 240 per day, but, you know, quick maths. Any chance perception will help the tailors find rare cloth spat? No, unfortunately not, because those secondary stats don't apply to primary crafting professions. The only thing that's going to boost your cloth gathering is the node in tailoring that says it does just that. Although, knowing how Blizzard codes their games, it wouldn't surprise me. At least in principle, it shouldn't. You could use angry assignments or something like this. It's only a text on the screen and not automated, but it's better than nothing. Oh yeah, I know there's very easy, straightforward manual ways to do it. But I also don't think it's the most complicated thing for somebody that knows what they're doing with weak auras to bang one out. And then be the, be the saviour of the community by doing it. I was adverse to weak auras for a long time, and often put off using weak auras. Not to mention, it's such a bloaty add-on by the time you have too many of the damn things. But truth be told, these days there's enough people that know what they're doing with weak auras, and there's enough variation of weak auras out there that I think they're, a really good. It's a really good addition to the game. It's a bit of a divisive topic, old weak auras, but anything that can bridge the gap to provide players some sort of flexibility, which Blizzard wasn't able to do themselves, I think it's got to be considered a bonus, right? Still 33 over there, 28 over there. We've unlocked a spec. Plethora just gives us 5 skill. Whenever you mine, gain a vigor as well. I'm going to unlock that one first, just because flying around, you're going to be flying around dragon riding doing this. Myco Bloom, Iron Claw. Definitely farmed these ones. Come up if they're easy. Truth is that if you know how to program Lua and you know the WoW API, you can get a competitive edge over people that don't. If you put in the effort to make some clever tools. Well, I mean, TSM falls in the same category. TSM I consider significantly easier to get on board with. Yet I know categorically just how many people don't even like get their head around TSM ever. Dare I say, over the years, I've made a fair few pennies from giving people a quick way to get up and running with TSM. I don't know the financials behind the scenes at TSM, obviously, but I tend to suspect that there have been months where I've made more money than TSM has selling my profile. Now I know that sounds bad, but it's true. it's an add-on that is not necessarily straightforward, and if people can get a quick easy profile just to go, it turned out to be quite popular. I've not done a great job of keeping it up to date at all, though. In fact, so much so that I'm very tempted to delete it and just start it again. That said, I do know that TSM has some news to share with the world relatively soon. I believe their new website is launching soon. I don't know what their new website does. I've not had a content creator sneak peek into it. I probably will get a little look at it before it goes live, I would hope. But I don't know when that is. They are improving their offering via their website, which might hopefully bring some more use to players. I think they are. I think TSM are finally switching away from being just an add-on in the game and are looking to more use the data that they have to bring advantage to players that way. Which I personally think is a smart way of doing it. Right, we've got to be careful here or we're going to get blasted off the cliff. I'm also wondering if I should be hitting up... Well, I absolutely know that you should have to... You're going to want to spend maybe 20 minutes, half an hour in each zone doing this, because there are some combination of herbs and ore that you're just not going to find in the first zone. So you are going to have to fly around a little bit to do this. We've technically, excluding the 200 we got from the freebie... we've technically only actually found 57 Artisans Acuity from herbalism and mining so far. Oh, okay, so that was a brand new one, for example. TSM, like many WeCores, but not all of them, has a horribly garish UI and can make the feeling of being in the game more like clocking into an old Windows Office environment. The fact that you're aged enough to remember an old Windows environment amuses me. It also tells me that you know exactly what you're talking about. You're right. Function over style is often the play. There's a webbed one in the middle of the sea here, look. I wonder if this is one we need. What is it? Webbed. It just says webbed ore deposit. I've just realised these aren't specific. These are just webbed. These have a journal entry for just straight webbed. I thought webbed was a... No, it could be a webbed anything.
It's too far away.
What did it actually give me? Bismuth? Being webbed, you can't see what they are. Good point. Good point, my man. Always thinking. Always thinking. Remembering pre-Windows is great. I remember I could use DOS before I could go to school. You know, I was running DOS commands, and I was loading into video games and formatting hard drives and doing all of this good stuff in I was doing all of that in DOS. That was good fun. I remember before I even went to school, before I'd even gone to school, I'd programmed myself a customized DOS dashboard to load up all of my different games with just single commands. There's no way I could do that now. But it amuses me that it was a thing. A lot of people often tell me that I've aged graciously since moving to Finland, and that there must be something in the Finnish water that makes it so that people don't age. My hairline tells a different story, but it is true. Nordic lifestyle, Scandinavian lifestyle, healthy eating, healthy lifestyle definitely helps. It's the Finnish music? Oh no, it's definitely not. Woo! Definitely not. Kaya's the secret. the elixir of youth. That stuff's horrible. I'll drink it if I have to. The aftertaste I don't like. Okay. Wait, hang on. I can mine a goat? Get wrecked, goats. I was talking to Mrs. Manthius about this a little bit yesterday. Even though we live in Finland now, and that, you know, sauna is a way of life over here, I still haven't whilst I am a big advocate of going to the sauna and everything that it entails, I still... Oh, this is definitely a new one. I don't think I've overloaded on a spore-fused Orbinid before. Go on, honey. Yeah, while I approve of everything sauna, I've definitely not got deep into it as a natural, purebred Finn, because my father-in-law, for example, if he doesn't go to the sauna one day, his day's ruined, like actually ruined. It's literally a non-optional thing. Beer a day. Barbecued mackerel.
I need to get
Sauna. Literally the 3 commandments of being a Finn. Right, I'm wondering if we're at the point where we should maybe start taking a stroll to another zone. I think we're at the point where we're not really finding too much more from this zone. We need to go start hunting down the odds and ends, right? Crystallized and irradiated. We found a couple of lure drop and urbanid nodes, luckily, but they're not, you know, this isn't their home particularly. Blessing Blossom we can definitely find more of here. Aratha's Spear is just rare in all of the zones. Haven't been sauna for years and years. I'm expecting to get tossed out of Finland any day now. Oh yeah, don't say that publicly. You get a free pass because you live in Helsinki, and obviously, unless you're a multi-millionaire in Helsinki, you may not necessarily have access to your own. Makes sense, but I mean, for all I know, you're a multi-billionaire. But I've looked at house prices in Helsinki. They scare me. They scare me a lot. I speak Finnish, not really. I can mutter the odd word here and there. I can go into a bar and order a beer. But I get the basics out of the way, but not really. I'm unfortunately one of those foreigners that hasn't put anywhere near enough effort into learning the language. But I've also made the problem even more difficult for myself because whilst, yes, learning Finnish would be a smart move, I actually live in an area where they predominantly speak Swedish. So I'd be back to square one even if I did. I'm better off just sticking with English because everybody speaks English. It's a pain in the ass and it makes me feel a little bit awkward sometimes that I haven't put the effort in, but we've been told when it's about communication, most Finns would much rather communicate with me in English because they can speak it perfectly than me try and use broken textbook Finnish and as not actually there's nothing a Finn like. Finnish language is very to the point and precise, and Finnish people are the same. There's no room for wasting time. There's no small talk. There's none of this business. It's purely communication. Right, tell me what it is you want. None of this fluff, none of that business. It makes me giggle because a lot of my wife's family, they're all completely fluent in English for starters, but they always find it funny when English people are like, "Can I have a?" Like if you're at I don't know, an ice cream van or a hot dog stand or something, that "Can I have a?" Finnish people laugh at that. They find that amusing because, well, it's simple. Yes, you can have it if you have money. Like, you don't need to ask, can I have this? You tell me what you want and you give me the money and then that's it. That's all the communication you need. You don't go into a bar and say, can I have a beer, please? You go into the bar and you say, 1 beer, please. Well, you don't even say please because you don't need to ask politely for something. The transaction and the deal is implied. They have a word, kitos, which is like thank you, but the word please doesn't even exist. They're very much a straight to the point kind of in terms of communication, which also leads me to the point that it's much, 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 much better for me to just speak English because then the communication is straight to the point. There's no messing. No messing. Simple times. Well, yeah, you can obviously squeeze in a few expletives at the end of the sentence, of course. That is very Finnish. Eye contact with bartender as you walk in. Raise one finger. That's literally it. That is literally it. No small talk. No, how was your day? None of this bullshit. Let's get to the point. What do you want? What do you want? I'll get it. You pay for it. Job done. Okay, boom. Oh, I still got it. It's fine. I like that about Finnish people. No messing. No messing. No funny business. Straight to the point. This is why they're good at business. This is why they're very good in business. Because they you know, they say something, they mean it, for starters. Finnish person has never lied in their life. They say they're going to do something, they will do it. But I will crawl out of Finland's ass right now, remove my tongue, get back to business. What? Do we think it's time to move to another zone? I think it might be. Can you tell I like this country, though? I am most fond of this country. Boom! Okay, let's assess the situation. We have... I'm wondering if the smart move here is to go from the Isle of Dawn straight into flipping hell, Ashkahet, because in there you've got Ashkahet, you've got the not the bismuth, not the iron claw, the other one, Acuity. You've got the third material in Acuity there, and we've actually, regarding bismuth and iron claw, found a good chunk of these already. There's also seams. I'm sure seams are going to give you first time points as well. Another webbed ore deposit over there. Let's grab that. They're usually lucrative. I'm happy that you're happy in Finland. Everybody should feel that about where they live. Yeah, it's one of those things, right? That hang on. Dog. Apple. Hey. Catch it. It is one of those things that it's a massive quality of life thing to actually like the place you live in. And you're right, everybody should. I think this is what causes huge amounts of friction for people these days. Friction in terms of the fact that if you don't feel the country you live in is doing for you what you think it needs to, it can be very stressful, just naturally. Did you see Beard Meats Food video from Finland? I've seen him do something in Finland, yes. I have. I know he's been to Finland a couple of times, and he's done a few of his super duper food challenges here. It's easy to be happy in Finland in the summer. That's true. That's very true. It's a little bit more difficult in the winter. What's my opinion on the riots in England now? Well, the riot, this is a good example, right? I'm dangerously close to getting political about this, so I'm gonna like tone it in a little bit here. But the riots in England right now is a prime example of just pent up frustration for years, right? For years and years and years, there's this kind of hidden frustration and annoyance and anger. And when something snaps, like, that's when stupid stuff like riots happen. And it's a snowball effect. Like, okay, there's a riot going on over here, which then, you know, is the catalyst that triggers somebody else to be pissed off. Like, that sort of stuff is just steady, built-up frustration. And when it comes out, people do things they shouldn't do. And so, yeah, I obviously can't condemn, you know, can't be. No rioting is good. Like, there's no justification for it in any way, shape, or form, regardless of who you are or where you're from or anything. None of that really matters. It's difficult to, you know, smashing the window of Greg's and stealing sausage rolls is never right. But you can kind of start, you know, if you step back and look at it with open eyes for a minute, you can start to understand why it's happening. Do you think there is a point of racing with Omega Goblins to the rank 3 reagent guarantees? I wonder if all the profit will remain for longer just so normal players can take advantage of it. Well, that's a good point. Hang on, that was Acuity in Hallowfall. That's good to know. Well, one thing I will say is that you can do some very aggressive goblineering to get to the point where you can guarantee top quality stuff remarkably quickly. It is a valid question, though, that is racing to that point going to be worth it or not, considering what we also know is that the greatest demand for stuff likely is not going to kick in until the season starts. So there is this kind of like 14-day window. There's this 2-week opportunity when the expansion goes live. You can race, and you can probably I've theoretically mathed it out that it's possible within almost the first day to be able to guarantee things at rank 3. The question is, though, does that really translate to any tangible advantage? Since there's not going to be the strongest reason for players to be buying that top quality stuff just yet, because most things deal with the season, like the raid. Really, raid is the big catalyst, right? When a new raid comes out, people, you know, that's when the economy just goes boom. Prior to that, it's a little bit questionable. I am all for people doing everything in their power to get guaranteed top quality crafts as fast as they want to get them. And I'm quite sure those that do will see some advantage of doing it. I personally am probably going to take it a little bit slower, a little bit more casually. Mostly because on my main characters, I don't have the ability to drop the professions, to cycle them for like tiny little bonus advantages. I know I'm foregoing an advantage. But I also know that having 2 primary professions on one character is a problem, because of course I will probably want to spend all of my Artisans Acuity that I can gain on that one character in improving one profession, but that is going to be at the cost of the other profession. So there's a balancing act there that I'm going to have to do just purely because I've got 2 primary professions. All of this will disappear, though. None of this will matter 6 months into the expansion. So if you play the short game, there is an advantage to playing the short game. But you can also look at it from the perspective of that if you know you're going to be playing World of Warcraft for the next 6, 12, 18 months, that setting yourself up slowly but surely with lots of different professions, lots of different alts, leveling them all up slowly but surely, there is a long-term advantage to doing it that way as well. So whichever route you choose, there's gold to be made, without question. It's actually really hard to not make gold at the beginning of an expansion. Super difficult to not make gold. Since pretty much anything you do is just turns into gold. Some of the blue profession tool recipes that are 150 acuity are rep locked. Usually not, but like I said, I can't give a strict yes or no answer to these questions because there'll always be an exception to the rule. Most of the profession tools are purchased from the Artisans Consortium Quartermaster in Dornogal. Most of them, where there's no rep needed for those. So you're literally trying to get enough Artisans Acuity to afford the recipe. Oh, I've given myself hiccups. You're trying to get enough Artisans Acuity to afford the recipe. Then you need, you know, however much else. 300 to make the thing. But yeah, if you are... This is why doing a sort of guide for this is a little bit tricky. I can relatively safely tell people that you're going to need about 450 Artisans Acuity, and this is roughly how you might go about doing it. But everybody's scenario is going to be slightly different because of what tool they're chasing. You know, there's 8 primary professions. Well, there's 12. Was it 12, 13 professions in total? Wait, hang on. 8 normally. 8 crafting ones, 3 gathering ones, 11. There's 11 professions, and then there's 3 pieces of profession gear. So what's that? Potentially 33 different routes that players might have to take to do this, depending on what they're playing with. Crystallized Aquarite. That's definitely a new one. I should have mined the thing before I took the portal. Whoops. That was a doo-doo mistake, wasn't it? That's put me in a precarious position. That's put me somewhere it definitely shouldn't have done. That literally teleported me into a wall hack. That's concerning, isn't it? Teleporting me into a wall hack. Love that. Report this. I'm pretty sure these reports know your was ported onto mining node from overloading. What did I overload? Shit. I overloaded something. What did I overload? Crystallized... No, shit. I don't even know what it was. From overloading. I was ported to a node behind a wall. E.g. wall hack. Probably not an ideal position to be ported to. Look, I'm literally under the ground. Boop. It ported me to a node that's under here. Oh dear, that's really silly. Whoops. The other problem is I have no idea where I was prior to that, because I could have done with picking up whatever the node was before that. Here we go, a weeping Acuite. We need this. Still finding bugs 10 days before launch, not worrying at all. Oh, I mean, bugs are fine. Like, bugs can be fixed. It's when stuff is, like, fundamentally broken. The campaign, for example, I should point this out to people. There's been a bit of an uproar by a lot of content creators recently of that they've not been able to properly test even leveling the campaign. Because the campaign has fundamentally been broken for about 4 weeks now. Which is causing quite a lot of people to be crying at the moment. Those people who are trying to figure out quick ways to level, they're trying to get the campaign done so that they can get to the level 80 content to test that. There's lots of There's lots of issues with that at the moment. Did I just get Kej from a treasure? Well, that's handy to know. Sub to the patron a few minutes ago. As long as you've paired your... Firstly, thank you. Secondly, as long as you've paired your Discord and Patreon accounts, the Patreon bot will assign you the correct roles over in Discord automatically. It can take 20 minutes, but it will happen automatically as long as you've linked your accounts. And then it will, the new channels will show up for you. Would you make the profession tools and accessories early or use the Acuity for profession knowledge? There's stronger value. I wish I could give clear and definitive answers on these, but I can't because there's so many different ways people are going to be doing things. If you are just playing on a single character and you're considering each character individual, you are best off spending your Artisan's Acuity on the tools, because the tools are going to give you flat skill. There's up to 40... You're not wishing upon any stars. There's up to 40 skill that can be obtained from your tools. Now, that 40 skill is going to benefit you regardless what you're crafting with that profession. It's flat, generic skill. It's always going to be useful. Meaning that getting your tools in order is a smart move. But, now for the caveat, now for the but. But, if you are willing to craft tools and gather Artisan's Acuity on some of your alts, to then place work orders with your own characters to get your tools, quote-unquote, for free on your main characters, then obviously, yes, you don't need to spend your Artisan's Acuity on the tools. But, so, yeah, I hope you kind of see there's two answers to that. There's the, depending on how you're doing it, if you're going to get your tools from somewhere else, spend it on knowledge points. But if you're going to play jewel crafting and you're going to collect things, the best use of your Artisan's Acuity to begin with is getting those tools in order. Nerubian Venom Web, 7 Kej. Oh, that was a treasure, wasn't it? That was another treasure. Sometimes things happen in the game and I realise I haven't paid any attention to what actually was happening. Okay, more Kej from treasures. That's handy to know. Right, let's do a quick sanity check with where we're at. We still need to find lure drops and orbanids in many different variations, if possible. Regarding... Oh, we've also unlocked a second spectre. We might as well unlock that one as we can. 5 extra skill. For mining, we have done quite okay on bismuth. We still need to find some more variations of aquarite. Aquarite. It's a, I think it's the Q's pronounced as a C. It's aquarite. Iron claw ore, webbed, easy mine, and crystallized. We need weeping, iron claw. Yeah, I think the best way to do this is actually just to write down a list. Write a list of every possible, and then just tick them off as you find them on that character. Unless some clever goblin comes up with a weak aura for it. I'm also 5 and 5 on my knowledge points for the week on this toon as well, which will result in 5 and 5, which means we should get the epic one next. which then we can turn those in to get Acuity from these as well. So we're going to slingshot ourselves quite further ahead than just this 81 soon. Right. Rare versions of Acuity. Acuity, or whatever the hell we're going to call it. Oh, I need some shiny mining nodes. Ico Bloom, no. Lush Orbinid, that definitely sounds like something we probably haven't found before. What's this one? Crystallized Acuity, we need that. Oh, no, apparently we didn't. Alright, whatever. Won't you be collecting the one-time knowledge points for herbing and mining on your mule? Well, the one-time treasures don't give you Artisans Acuity. That's why you get 200 from the bag. So it's not as important to pick up the treasures unless there is any tangible reason for you to power Zerg something. If you, like... I mean, I guess it could be one way to make sure you definitely spend a bit of time in each of the 4 zones and improve your chances about finding the rare variations. So maybe actually just flying around and picking up the treasures and picking up everything else you find along the route might be valuable. You're going to drop these 2 professions almost instantly after you've done this anyway. You don't care about knowledge points particularly, unless 20 points gives you a really tangible benefit somewhere, which is only going to really be in the first node. So I don't really think you're going to care about knowledge points. You're not doing this for goal-making perspective. You're not doing this for the purpose of being better at those professions. So the bonus knowledge points doesn't really matter. But like I said, it could be a good way to just make sure you go through each of the zones, and it might help you find the variations of nodes a bit quicker. I wonder if we've picked up just a regular Orbinid yet. We must have done if we picked up a variation. Oh, there's like Deep Grove Rose then. So that's herbalism knowledge points for the week on this dude. Are we taking gathering to start with for the bonus artisans Acuity? Yeah. Yeah, you're going to spend an hour or 2 doing some gathering just to start your journey. Oh, and there's our mining one as well. So we got those at relatively equal pace. Guess who's going to be digging dirt again for Kej? Yeah, well, tailors for sure. Flipping hell, if you're a tailor, you need thousands of that damn stuff. So, we're at 87 before we use any of these. And there's still some clear gaping holes in things I've found. I've not found many variations of Lure Drop or Orbinid yet. In fact, I've not really found many variations of any of these, to be honest. So I probably... Your priority is actually probably to fly around and only pick up the shiny stuff. Shiny stuff is the ones that is most likely to give you freebies. You can probably ignore the basic nodes when doing this. Pick up the shiny stuff and you should be good. Do these still give 5 knowledge points each? Now's the time to find out. Sorry, 5 artisans Acuity. They do. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Plus the big one for another 15. So there's 40 from mining. Right, so that's 172. We only need 250. So we got 172 just by playing with herbalism and mining for a little while. It's at this point where I'm wondering whether it's smart just to switch to skinning and enchanting now to get the rest. Because I could fly around and I could try and find all the variations. But I'm now at, like, heavy diminishing returns on my time spent here. I'm actually starting to think that that knowledge, flying around and picking up the knowledge points, even though that's not really essential, is actually a smart move just because it will force you to go into each zone and fly around a little bit in each zone. That's maybe a good call, actually. Weeping Acuity, is this a new one? No. It's a shiny herb somewhere. What are you? Spore fused. New one. Is there an Acuity weekly quest like there was in Dragonflight? Yeah, so actually what you're going to do before you drop these professions off is fill those quests. I think it's worth like 3 knowledge points. You turn in some of the materials, which you kind of probably should have got enough of them. Shiny one. What's that? Web door deposit. There we go. Could be good. Could not be good. Who knows? Bismuth. Spend 100 vigor dragon riding. Is a traveler's log thing. Wow. Okay. Dog. Stop scratching. Hang on. Hang on. Dogs would be going crazy. Wouldn't you get Artisans Acuity from your tool crafting mule profession as well? So you'd only need enough from gathering plus crafting the tool. Yeah, I'm targeting 450. 450 is the number. 450 is going to give you 300 for the tool itself, and then 150 if you need it to buy the recipe from somewhere, depending on what profession you're doing and what, which tool or which piece of profession gear you're actually crafting. The Kej book apparently doesn't give you Artisans Acuity, which is handy to know. It means you can, for the most part, ignore it. On this little adventure, at least. Kej is directly a currency, isn't it? 34 on this dude. I wonder if I go back to Dornogal now. See what the turn-in quests are.
Come, relish my
I should have set my Hearthstone there, to be fair. Is there any point of profession shuffling with one-time knowledge points not giving any artisans acuity? Well, the point is every single piece of artisans acuity you get is an advantage. So this is why people are doing it, right? Because you need lots of it to get your tools. You need lots of it to buy the profession books, which in turn turns into knowledge points, which is clearly an advantage that people understand. So yes. If you can get, a knowledge book and 10 extra knowledge points over and above somebody else, that could mean the difference between crafting something at next quality or not. It's all, the advantage is, it's subjective for the most part. Like, it's going to take you time. It's going to take you effort. It might cost you something to do it. But if you do it, is it going to return something to you? I don't know. It's up to you. Unpopular opinion, they should gatekeep artisans' acuity with X amount per week. That still doesn't make a difference, though, because you'd still mule it for malts. That would only go to emphasize even more so. That's only a disadvantage. That's a greater disadvantage to those players who are playing normally. That would only make it borderline mandatory for you to get your tools from an alt, which I think is even worse. I think that it's best that they let people get more of it. I don't know. It's difficult. Like the artisans' acuity situation. I know I was a big advocate for nuking the treasures, and I don't think everybody really understood why I was arguing against that and not against things like these other things, like getting tools from your alts and stuff. This I consider gameplay, right? You're actively choosing to play the game in a certain way. You're choosing to, you've leveled another character. That takes time and effort. You're choosing to do something very specific on that one character so that you can better yourself somewhere else in the game. It requires you to farm materials. It requires you to probably buy materials. You're engaging with the economy by doing this, even if most of it is for your own personal benefit. You're interacting with the economy and the player base as a whole doing this. Flying around for 20 minutes picking up a shitload of treasures and getting over 1,000 artisans acuity was just dumb. Like, it was you were not helping anybody but yourself, and it would have made it, and it was such a big advantage that it would have basically been mandatory. That was my big argument against it. We need the turn-in quests. Where's herbalism? Where's its turn-in quest for the week? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? A bloom and blossom. 3 knowledge points. You win 10 Myco Bloom and 10 Blessing Blossom. Well, we've already got that, so there you go. So there's the weekly quest for herbalism. There's some extra juice. 15 more artisans acuity. What does mining want? Do we already have enough? Aquarite. How much of it do you want? 10. Already have it. Good. There you go. Done that in. 3 knowledge points. Boom. Done that. 205. So a little bit of herbalism, a little bit of mining has not only given us a bunch of materials that we can then either put in our war bank to use for profession leveling, or obviously sell them. But but has put us within 45 Artisans Acuity of being able to buy the tool and craft it for our main character. Now, some first-time craft bonuses with whichever profession you're doing it with. In theory, we just pick up skinning now. I reckon... I don't think there's enough left with herbalism and mining to be able to do it all with herbalism and mining straight away. There's a couple more variations of aquarite that we would need to find. Haven't found any of the seams and stuff. It's questionable how much further you'd want to push. Diminishing returns on your time. I only found a couple of variations. Crystallized, lush, radiated, crystallized, lush, spore fused. I only found spore fused lure drop. But there's actually, you could probably do it just with herbalism and mining. Should we pick another zone and go try and do the rest of it with just herbalism and mining? The alternative is that you can easily now, for example, we'll have picked up a few greens, right? We've killed stuff, so we've picked up a few greens. What we got here? A green, BOE. We've picked up a few greens. We can technically disenchant these. If we go and do some skinning, we'll likely get more greens via killing things via skinning anyway. Yeah, I'm going to say that that's probably the play. Then you want to drop the 2 professions. Where's the skinning trainer? You're skinning. Skinning and enchanting next. Where's my notes? Fly around hunting 1 of each material node. Step 4. Find each gathering professions epic. Epic knowledge. Epic weekly. Once 5 and in weekly weekly profession quest. At this point you should be over 400 AA. How much of a difference do you see racial buffs being? Basically no difference. I've said that racials will have a very, very small impact this time round. And the racial does really nothing more than offer you a very slight reduction on the amount of concentration you'll need. But it's so slight, it's barely noticeable. If you happen to have the racial, great, but it's not a min-max thing, I don't feel. You should be able to do nearly everything with or without the racial. This Artisan's Acuity is not for a main. This is not designed for your main. I mean, you could start by doing this on your main, but it's designed for an alt. It's designed for an alt that's going to make a piece of profession gear to funnel it to your main. By this point, you should be over 400 Artisan's Acuity. I'm at 405. Still got room to move on there. Drop, herb, and mining. Pick up enchanting and skinning. I think. Am I safe in saying that that's the smartest move here? Are we going to go as far as to say we're done with herbalism and mining? Yes. Unlearn. It's easier to get some quick and easy knowledge, I reckon, with enchanting and skinning. I guess I should also point out you're going to want your skinning knife. This is an interesting twist that only turned up recently. The ability to take 2 of one type of leather and convert it into 1 of the other. This is subtle, but this is a way of guaranteeing the price of these 2 materials never gets too far apart from each other. I wonder if this was just a beta thing, or whether this is actually going to stay here, because that's a very interesting twist. Also puts a slight limitation on the Mataji as well. It's I've not done too much skinning testing, but it's usually considered much easier to get one of these materials than it is the other. I think getting storm charged leather is pretty easy. Gloom chitin, on the other hand, not so much. Which, if there's a conversion, you can convert one to the other. Admittedly, it's a lossy conversion, but conversion all the same. So we got skinning. We now need enchanting. Where's enchanting? It's in its corner, I think. Is this enchanting? Yeah. Take enchanting, because you get your knowledge points via... You get your... by disenchanting, I should say. Get your knowledge points here. For that, we can get rid of that now. Any random ass greens you pick up, you just disenchant them. Alternatively, just go to the auction house and buy some cheap greens. Your other route here. Not so easy to do on the beta right now, but let's go to a skinning spot. Let's go. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Let's think. Where do I know is reasonable skinning? Hallowfall. Hallowfall's not bad for skinning. Let's pad this out. Disenchanting. Disenchanting provides knowledge points for enchanters. So DE, any random greens you have found so far. While gaining... Why can't I type? Realistically, if you can get 200 from just doing herbing and mining for an hour, you're likely not even really going to need to do... If you are willing to just go to the auction house and buy some greens to disenchant, you get like 9 times 5, that's 45. You probably don't even need skinning. at this point. If you're willing to just quickly buy some greens and disenchant a bunch of stuff. I reckon you can get this entire process down to like an hour, 2 max. I can't see any new channels after I subbed on Patreon and linked to the Discord. Is your name orange in the Discord? If your name is orange, the link has happened. If your name isn't orange, the link hasn't happened yet.
The links get the zoomies and misbehave. Take one for a run before it maims someone.
From what I can tell, your name isn't orange yet, which means the link hasn't happened. The Patreon bot will give you the right stuff, assuming you've connected it properly. DM me on either Discord or Patreon, and I'll look at it after stream. If it hasn't already happened. Right, let's go kill a few things. This little area in Hallowfall is considered pretty good for skinning, I believe. You're on a dead server with all the nodes up, so I'm sure this will... Oh, well, yeah, obviously, that's something to consider, that your speed in this may not be quite as fast, because, yeah, I've got basically free reign. I suppose that's worth considering, yeah.
I need to target something first.
The hell is this? What did I just kill then? Was that a treasure? Hang on. Hang on. Enchanting. Weekly. Okay, that's the treasure one. That's the treasure one. I knew about that. That's fine. I wonder if that's something that's worth... Okay, we'll just consider that a bonus. I wasn't planning on that, but... Word on the street is once you unlock adventure mode, you're in a different phase than everybody else, so gathering after unlocking that. Yeah, this is why the smart thing to do is to just zug your way to... Zug yourself to level 80 on a toon first. And then probably turn around and go do some gathering. In what may potentially be a nearly free and empty phase. So we probably want to do enough skinning to get the weekly skinning knowledge points as well. If I remember correctly, the weekly knowledge points you gain from skinning is 9? 9? 5 of... or maybe 8, sorry. 5 of 1 and... yeah, 5 plus 3. I'm pretty sure it's 8. 8 times 5 is 40. Should, in theory, then be enough without actually having to use disenchanting much at all. Anything you get from disenchanting is just a bonus. Is there any profession that definitely requires even more than 450 to get their tool? The 300 for the epic enchanting tool is 400 Artisans Acuity, isn't it? if you're trying to funnel the enchanting tool to yourself, although you don't need the 150 to learn the recipe, because the recipe is free via knowledge points, right? You don't have to buy the recipe, yeah. So it's more expensive, but you don't have to buy the recipe. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. How does this work? Does this alt character in the end have to be a crafter that can craft the relevant profession tool? Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're setting ourselves up before taking the profession that makes the thing that we want. We're setting ourselves up with a bunch of Artisans Acuity, so that when we then level the profession that makes the tool that we're after, we have both enough Artisans Acuity to buy the recipe when needed. Often it's 150 Artisan Acuity to buy the recipe. Then we need 300 to be to make the thing in the first place. And then then you go out and you level up your profession. That's the one bit it's not too easy for me to test or simulate on the leveling servers. But you then drop whatever professions you use to get the Artisan's Acuity, and you'd level up the profession, and you do what you need to do to unlock the recipe for the tool. You might not need to go so far, because I think you can actually pick up the recipes at like skill 25 or something. You need to do very little to get the profession to make the tool. I'd also point out we're not really out there to make the tool at the best possible quality either. We're just looking to get it. Like, getting it is all we're really trying to do. We're getting ourselves in the position so our main character with our profession can put in an order with this alt, and this alt can provide all the materials. I mean, there is one other solution to this, and that is find somebody that has done this and pay them handsomely. Like, that is entirely an option. What I wanted to do, though, really now, is just try and figure out what amount of time or effort goes into doing this on a character, because that will indicate what people will charge for it. But there's always the side of things that, because you're buying Artisan's Acuity, a character will be able to do this once, and then it's kind of like they're disposable in that regard. Meaning that, you know, somebody, even if you can do this in 2 hours or it takes you 10 hours, you're still going to likely look at charging a pretty price, because Artisan's Acuity is what's limited. But all of you out there that have got 700 remix alts and have been leveling remix 70s with not really a true understanding of what you're going to do with them, I suspect you could technically do this exact process on each one of them and then craft a tool for somebody, and I reckon it's more than comfortable charging like 200,000-300,000 Artisan's Acuity, 200,000-300,000 gold. You'll find a goblin out there that's willing to pay that price if you can do it quick enough. If you turn up after 2 weeks and you're trying to sell a tool, then you're not likely going to see much love. But if you can do this on the second, third day of the expansion, you'll find a goblin out there that will pay quite a lot, just so that they don't have to do this themselves. Noticed any rare recipes? Rarity of stuff is almost impossible to determine on the beta. It's not until you find people out there that are actively trying to get something, and then even one person, you know, one person's perspective on the rarity of something doesn't really count. It took Bear 600 plus attempts to get ashes. It took me 30. So, you know, if you've got to get a wider pool of data, really, to determine rarity. One thing I have found out recently, though, I've not tested this myself, but it looks like where there are recipes that drop from dungeons, you can technically get them from follower dungeons as well. They do seem to be dropping from follower dungeons, which might make it a touch easier for people to get those recipes if they need them. Have we gained any random ass greens we can do, Jan? Where we picked something up. I only found one of these. Does it cost Artisans Acuity to recraft? Yes. Yes. Can you explain what you mean when you say sell the Artisans Acuity? Well, you're not selling the Acuity directly, you're selling the ability to make the tool, but using your mats rather than theirs. That's what you're actually doing. But to be able to do that, you need to be able to provide 300 Artisans Acuity. That's what other goblins out there will be looking for. They'll be looking for somebody that's willing to make the profession tool for them, but using crafters' mats, not the buyer's mats. And I know categorically there'll be players that'll be, because of the importance of profession tools, there'll be players that'll be happy to spend a few 100,000 gold. Because then all of their own Artisans Acuity, they spend them on knowledge books and stuff like that instead. So... I'm not sure if this is the most viable of farming spots for skinning, but seems to be plenty of beasts down here, and I've had some success with this so far. Interestingly, I've not... Well, I wanted to spend a little bit more time gathering and farming and figuring out where everything's going to come from. But I'm going to be honest, I've kind of stuck in my lane a little bit more. There are people out there that are significantly better at farming and will find all of these locations much faster than I would. So my theory here is I will wait until the farm spots become relatively well known. Probably foregoing some easy YouTube views, but what can you do? Yeah, there's another toughened Tempest pelt. Truth be told, if you only need exactly 450, you might still actually, time-wise, be better off just doing herbing and mining. I reckon you can probably do the whole thing using just herbing and mining, if you also then fly around and pick up the treasures, so that you spend a bit of time in each zone. Because this section seems to be taking as much time as the herbing and mining bit did in its entirety. For very, very small gain. They removed the profession, shuffle, and treasure Acuity, but not the fact that you can shuffle NPC orders that give Acuity. Is that true? Won't that mean that you can still sweaty goblin your way to another couple of hundred Acuity? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't see much of a problem with that, though, particularly because you're putting a lot more time and effort and you're risking gold in doing that. Filling those orders is not free, by the way. most patron orders that you're going to see in the first week or two are going to be remarkably frustrating. Because the order will be there, it will be dangling that carrot in front of you. It will be dangling the carrot in front of you, like it will be like, here's some knowledge points, here's some Artisans Acuity. You're going to want it, then you're going to look at the recipe, and you're going to look at the quality of the thing that it's requesting, and then you're going to realise, shit, I need to buy quality 2, quality 3 materials to fill this order, if you want, you know, the carrot on the end of the stick. It's going to be a while before patron orders are quick and easy to fill. So, I don't mind that approach, right? That, to me, is actually, you know, gameplay focused. Flying around picking up treasures and gaining 4 weeks head start on somebody that doesn't do it was just OP broken, and it had to go. Shuffling patron orders is intended gameplay. It's like if you want the rewards, you need to fill the orders. Plus beta, if you've spent time on beta doesn't really represent patron orders very well, I don't think. Because from what I can gather, the beta servers have the catch-up system activated as well for patron orders. Meaning the very second you make a character, you've got like 12 plus patron orders to fill. I don't think they're going to be quite that frequent when the game actually goes live. I think you might get access to a few orders to fill per week, and they also recycle in the same cadence as world quests. So halfway through the week you'll get a couple more, but you're not going to have a list of 20 orders to choose from, I don't think, in the first week. There might be 5 or 6 orders, and you might be lucky if you can fill half of them. Said it's up in the air, a little bit of risk if shuffling is going to be worth it for the tools. What about shuffling for both the tool and the equipment? That more definitive way. Well, when I talk about the tools, I'm kind of talking about profession gear generally. This isn't something that's just for the tools, the one slot. The optimal way to do this is to do this entire process 3 times, or twice for the accessories and once for the tool. The concept is the same. I just accidentally talk about tools, even though they're technically accessories and tools. Profession gear is probably the phrase I should use. Yeah, I've nearly leveled skinning up to 100 by this point, and I've still only got 2 of the weekly knowledge points. This is proving to be a very suboptimal use of time. Sure, any of these materials I can go on and sell them and do something with, but I'd have been better off at this point just doing some more herbing and mining, I reckon.
I need to target something first.
It's a third one. I mean, I also don't really know if this is an overly competitive skinning spot or not. There's probably better ones out there. So I'm sure this could be done a bit faster as well. How about just targeting the skinning and then the enchanting weekly? That'd be your extra 30. Well, yeah, just getting enough to get those weeklies handed in is probably more than enough. It is going to be interesting whether this is possible on all early access, though. Because they do claim that weeklies might not be an early access thing. Or that initial very, very early report seems to indicate. I'm not sure how much truth I am willing to take from any of that, though. But if you can't do the weeklies, you can still do this without the weeklies. You just definitely need to collect all of your weekly knowledge points instead. So this is the thing, right? It doesn't really matter if they restrict you from doing weeklies. Because you just have... all it means is in early access, you just have to put in a little bit more work. Almost regardless what happens, though, early access for me is just an excuse to level a few characters. I probably won't be doing too much profession related those 4 days. How much do you reckon an epic recipe will go for on the auction house in the first week? No clue. No clue. It very heavily depends on drop rates and stuff. No clue. It could be 30k, it could be 2k, it could be 150k. It depends on things like rarity, it depends on who wants it, if anybody wants it. If it's a recipe for an item that ends up sitting on a BIS list, it will naturally be worth more than if it's just any old random recipe. There's no way to tell things like that ahead of time, unfortunately. Would you say you can get 80 knowledge points in the first week? Yeah, 80 knowledge points is quite achievable. The quote that I'm throwing out there regarding how many knowledge points is that you can probably get 50 without trying very hard at all. You'll get 80 if you're putting in a little bit of effort, and you should probably be able to get 100 or so if you are doing everything in your power to do so. But considering the season doesn't start until week 3, it's up to you just how quickly you feel the need to pump. One thing I know with any form of professions, though, the early bird always catches the worm. Whoever does something first has the ability to charge a high price, and then that sets the boundary for everybody else. So the sooner you can get things done, usually the better. Go back to Lariat drop rates. Yeah. Yeah, everybody wants to know what the next Lariat situation is, but nobody can accurately predict that because we don't know what BIS lists are. We have no idea of how rare recipes are from various locations. We don't know anything yet. We you know, until the game goes live and the economy starts to build, we just don't know. The smart thing is putting yourself in a position to, soon as even the slightest inkling of something becoming rare or valuable turns up, to be able to jump on it. 80 to 100 is crazy. Guarantees rank 3 reagents. Going to be very doable. Not sure who's going to be buying them pre-season though. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't usually matter. Honestly, if you're one of the first people to have access to craft and sell something, you set the price. You know, if somebody wants to buy it, they buy it. Like, this is kind of the thing. Like, it's not really your issue to figure out if somebody wants something yet or not. Like, you want to give them the ability to buy something and set a price. If they buy it, they buy it. It's better to list it and for it to not sell, to assume that it won't sell and then not even get it, you know? This is just a default level 70 pre-made, so 408. Terrible, 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 terrible. If you were to drag a character in, you'll have probably much better than this. I want to set people's sort of understanding straight on this a little bit. You will see quality 3 materials on the auction house day one. I shit you not. Like, there's not so much an issue with things existing. There's more of an issue with how many of those things will exist and how expensive they will be. So don't be surprised when you open the auction house and you see quality 3 materials day one, or quality 3 crafted items day one, because it is possible. Even, concentration can do magic, but just know that there can't be that many of a thing available that early, but they will exist. It's not like we're not going to see quality 3 stuff for weeks. No, that we'll get it. We'll get it straight away. The point is that players will be pushing to get to the point where they can make them guaranteed, which is quite a little bit more effort and might take even the sweatiest of players a couple of days. But never, ever, 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 ever underestimate how sweaty people will play the game at the beginning of an expansion. It's wild. Some people somehow magically seem to find 25th hours in the day when the expansion launches. Honestly, quite scary sometimes. Any word on remix characters? I spotted something that seems to indicate that remix characters might be like 467 or 470 or something like that when they come out of Purgatory. I'm not sure what truth there is in that. I think because there was a set of gear that was added to the game that people are sort of guessing, I think, is going to be for the remix characters. And it was like 415 or something, and it's recently had an item level upgrade or something. A past build. There's a lot of people guessing again, really. Concentration's about 250 a day. Recharge. Oh, where's the last one of these? There's an epic one that's going to drop next. Once we get the epic one, we're basically done. I mean, I think even if we just went and handed in the weekly turn-in quests for enchanting and skinning now, we'd technically have the 450 we need already. But there we go. There's our abyssal fur. Now I think we're basically just good. If we're to turn all of these in, there we go. We're technically 10 short, but like that's we can. Any greens to disenchant? What about you? Go on, give me a disenchant knowledge point. You would. Never lucky. Any more for any more? Negative. We do need a few more greens, really. But we should, in theory, be able to hopefully go turn in some. Let's head back to I always want to call it Darnassus. Dornogal. Pick up the weekly quests. Even the skinning one is worth 15 Artisans Acuity, which is enough.
Make them regret it.
Is there a Artisans Acuity catch-up mechanic? No. Well, it's kind of directly linked to knowledge points.
Misbehave. Take one for a run before it maims someone.
You have the enchanting knowledge point drop. Purple dust, use it. Oh, this one. Yeah. That'd be worth another 5. You can go pick up treasures if you want, but maybe we didn't quite spend enough time herbing and mining. If we'd spent a little bit more time herbing and mining, maybe I will suggest fly around and picking up the herbing and mining treasures, just because it takes you to the 4 different zones. And it would mean that you probably end up getting a few more knowledge, a few more Artisans Acuity than those. Now I don't know how long this has taken me. What's my... Oh yeah, slash played doesn't really work very well, does it? Because it's 11,000 days played. Well, how long have I been streaming? That's probably a good way to at least hit it. 2.5 hours. You can... So in essence, you can probably get 450 Artisans Acuity in a couple of hours. Like, if you were to not waste time, you are good to do this in less than 2 hours easy. Which means if you have 3 characters doing this to get your 2 accessories and 1 tool, admittedly I should add on a little bit of time to actually level whatever the profession is, but that's a 20-minute job, no more. The point of... That's not how a balloon flies, holy shit. The point of actually getting the Artisans Acuity, 450 of it though, easy 2-hour job. Easy 2-hour job. Now we can go skinning turn-in quest business. Where are you? Why don't I have a skinning weekly quest? Ooh. That could be interesting. Is the other profession weeklies linked? Is it because I've already handed in 2 that I now can't get the skinning one? That's interesting. The enchanting one there? The enchanting one's not there either. That's cool. That's cool. That's handy to know. That you're not going to be able to get the easy... You can shuffle your professions, but the weeklies, you are capped at 2 weekly quests per character. Maybe need to unlock trees. Usually not. There's a possibility I need enchanting above 25. Unlikely.
I need to target
Out of curiosity, is there any random ass trash greens on the auction house? Unlikely, but let's at least no, that's not the auction house, that's the bank. You also don't give me a quest.
What is your
That must be a
command?
warband quest. Auction house.
Work cycle.
Oh, no.
I have calibrated my prices to be reasonable.
Not a single weapon on the auction house. Not a single piece of armor on the auction house. No greens on the auction house then.
Return and peruse my inventory
Oh.
again.
Is there anything on the auction house?
I have an extended supply of goods for outlanders.
Embraces of deepening darkness. The fact that there's 3 of those on the auction house tells me they're pretty easy to get.
My thanks for your patronage.
Can you disenchant the engineer mount materials? No. You can disenchant gear. Well, there isn't. There's an obvious second option here, by the way. We drop skinning. Take leatherworking. Oh, I don't have enough gloom chitin. Gross. Should have picked up more gloom chitin.
I have calibrated my prices to be reasonable.
Oh, here's some greens. Just nuke these. I'm gonna need these for anything. These are actually weird item level ones. These are broken. This under scout set I don't think was meant to really exist. These are level 70s, item level 545. I don't think these items were really meant to exist. I got these really early in the beta. These are completely broken, so we'll delete them anyway. Any leather in here? Not really. It's interesting to know that you don't seem to be able to do the profession weeklies more than once, which is quite cool to find out.
Has been fulfilled.
Go, there's one of our weekly enchanting knowledge points. If you were to go and spend like an hour doing some herbing and mining and then an hour doing some skinning, you'll probably have plenty of greens to break down. Boom, there we go. 450. Like whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, so that's that in essence is the easy way to get to 450 Artisans Acuity, it feels. You should test to see if it's 25 for the quest, like Dragonflight, just to see. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. This means you can't do weekly quests on your main profession tool maker. It looks like you're limited to 2 profession weekly quests. Whichever weekly quests they so be. Whichever ones they are, they are. I got the weak aura. Now I need to feed it with the war within data. The only downside so far is that it only updates your gathered herbs when you open your journal. Don't know how to get rid of that. Ah, I see. I don't know either. Do you have a list of all of the herbs and their all names? No, but they're probably easy to find on Wowhead. Can you do an outline of what you did on the Discord? It'll be a video later today. Don't worry, it'll be a video. I'll steal some of the footage from the stream and turn it into a video later. But yeah, it still means that there's an easy-ish way, mostly using gathering. You know, spend an hour or so on a mule, do some gathering. At this point, I could perceivably pick up any of the professions I actually want to level and do what I need to do to get the tool, and then put an order in for my main, and it's job done. Or put yourself in a position to sell that tool to somebody else. The trick was to make sure you can get the artisan security, and it shows that a couple of hours, bit of gathering, job done. It is going to mean theoretically that this character then becomes a bit of a burner for long-term progression with the alts, because obviously you're foregoing 300 artisans acuity, giving it to somebody else. It means that this character is then, if you want to do anything fancy with it, is behind. A suggestion would be on these mules, that on your profession gear mules, to then also slowly level them up to 80 and use them for skinning. You could spec them into daily creature bait skinners, maybe. Is that an unlimited source, do you think? So you could effectively grind 1350 to craft all tools main. Don't know what you're referring to. Where did this 1350 number come from? Oh, is that 450 times 3? Yeah, I mean, obviously you could, it's it more depends on how many level 70 characters you have. You can only do it. This is about roughly your limitation for a single character this week. If you had another level 70, you could do the same again. Your limiting factor here is how many level 70s you have. One character, one piece of profession gear is roughly what you can achieve. So if you want to funnel 3 pieces of gear to one character for one profession, you need 3 alts. If you have 2 crafting professions on that one main character, you need 6 alts to do this process. It's mostly something that those who have lots of remix leveled 70 characters might look at using. Gather each one time to get the acuity. Made a weak aura that just tracks items in your bags, and right now only has a list of herbs. Turn green if you have them. Yeah, it's not so much about getting the herb, it's about getting the right node. It's about actually hitting the right node, so you have the different variations of the nodes. You'll get a first time gather bonus from each of those. There's a lot more from herbalism than there is from mining, because there's more herbs. I technically think you could probably do just this with only herbalism and mining. But going and spending an hour skinning and then using enchanting to disenchant some stuff is also relatively easy. But it's definitely a finite number, yeah. It's not an unlimited number. But yeah, if you've missed bits or it's still a bit confusing, don't worry. I will come back to this in video form. Keep your eyes on the YouTube channel. I just wanted to physically see it with my own eyes and experience it, because then it means I can talk about it more fluidly. And I'll also have some stream footage to steal for the purpose of a demonstration. So yeah, what I would then do from this point on, let's say my main character's a jewel crafter. Well, let's not say that is true. My main character's a jewel crafter. So if I was looking at the tools and the accessories I need for jewel crafting, I know that, right, I'd have to do this 3 times on 3 different alts to get both of my, well, actually, jewel crafters make one themselves. So I'd have to make an engineer, I'd have to make a jewel crafter, and I'd have to make a leather worker. I wonder if it's worth, at this point, noting down in this section as well, how the recipe is acquired for these as well, rather than just who makes it. It's a little bit more detail, but it's also could be a little bit more useful detail. Can I do that easily? Yeah, I can probably do that easily. But yeah, I'd need to make an engineer. I'd need to then... So this dude could go and learn engineering. This is also where some of these materials that you've gathered will help you level the profession as well. So I'd then need to go learn engineering. I could then... The clamps. How do we get the clamps recipe? Clamps. So this then comes through the spec trees. Oh, of course, it's a flipping discovery thing, isn't it? Wow, that makes it really icky. That makes it really gross. I hadn't contemplated that, actually. This is possibly the worst example I could have given, because there's no easy path to actually getting the recipe. Okay, let's choose something else for the purpose of example, because that's grim. That's one of those weird outside examples that maybe we should pick something else. What about the earthen jeweler's cover via leatherworking? Let's say I was actually trying to get this one. I've done the 450 Artisans Acuity. I'd then go pick up leatherworking on this toon. That's skinning. We had leatherworking a minute ago, didn't we? I would need the earthen jeweler's cover recipe, which is where? Earthen jeweler's cover recipe. Liendril indoor Nogel.
What do you seek?
What did I say it was? The earthen jeweler's cover. It's around here somewhere. Earthen jeweler's cover. I need 35 skill in leatherworking. I would spend 150 on buying the recipe. That would leave me 300 left. And I would also need to get to level 35 in leatherworking, which is an absolute cakewalk, because I just used my guide, because I'm an absolute genius. So then I'd go to leatherworking. How do we get to level 35? Well, we go to here. Craft that. We get to level 35. Job done. Then once you have both the recipe and the profession leveled up enough to actually craft the recipe, your main character can then put in the work order and you can fill that work order. Job done. Easy business. And then that is how you've funneled a piece of profession gear through to your main. Yeah, there's a few outliers. Engineering, you're going to get most of the recipes via discovery. Alchemy tool that drops in delves. Yeah, that might be a little bit more of a difficult one. There might be some that are a touch more tricky to get the recipe for. But under most circumstances, this dude is your friend. This dude sells a lot of them. An awful lot of them come from this fella for 150 a piece. I mean, he's like 4 pages of them. So more often than not, you'll do it via this route. But your mileage may vary depending on what you're trying to get.
We will have justice.
Pretty easy, though. Pretty easy. Couple of hours work. Couple of hours work, maybe a little bit more if you have a recipe that's a bit weird and wacky, but under normal circumstances, pretty easy. Are they locked behind rep? No. No. Can this be done cross-realm with the guild work order if my alt is crafting the tool and the character I want to send the tool to are in the same guild? In theory, yes, that should work fine. Cross-realm guild orders are a thing. How efficiently they work, and whether they're bugged or broken at the moment is another question, but they should work. Weekly profession quests don't open until official release. Is that correct? We don't know. There has been no official news on that. Alright, that's cool then. I've got the video footage for that I need. This dude can just sit there and chill. Should we have a little catch up with the news? Should we have a catch up with the news? Where's my... Have a little catch up with the news. What's been going on? Actually, before I do that, I need to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be back in. Okay. Alrighty. Let's play catch up with the news, shall we? There's definitely a weekly economy report to have a little bit of a look at. Let's put this in all news. What we got then? Shadow Priest talent stuff, enhancement shaman stuff. Mop remix post-event item level possibly increased to 467. Yeah, this is probably based upon the fact there's a set of gear. With about a week before the end of Remix, players are starting to plan what to do with their time runners after the event reaches its end. As previously reported from PTR testing, characters from the event would obtain 415 gear, but this might have changed. Well, that was never confirmed either. During the recent testing on the 10.02 PTR, we noticed the Remix Panda event had ended earlier than the anticipated date of the 19th, so we decided to log in and check if anything had changed. Alliance character stationed by the Stormwind Embassy with a small prompt telling us that the event had ended and that our characters had been transported back to their original timeline. On a second look, we decided to check the character, who had a fresh set of character boost gear, but instead of 415 stuff, it was now 467. This higher item level is much closer to what characters can obtain during the Radiant Echoes pre-patch. Also gives that character a much easier time through the first steps in the War Within. Or 67 should last you till around 74, 75, where you'll then start getting quest upgrades of a similar level. Sure. Is 467 enough to get you into Raid Finder? Probably. Raid Finder's gone when these characters get around to being playable on live. Well, it's the 19th, right? There's still a few days. We've also tested purchasing a character boost to check if this is in fact a mock remix thing or just the paid character boost being stealth buffed, but characters leveled via the paid character boost are still 424. Cool. Alright. If our remix tunes pop out at 467, as far as I'm concerned, I don't have to touch them. I don't need to do anything with them. 467, fine, whatever. That'll work as a mule, no problem. That sounds plenty. I'm going to be totally honest with you. 467 is probably better than half the gear I've got on my alts right now, anyway, because I haven't played the pre-patch event much at all. I got real bored of the pre-patch event real fast. There's part of me that wants to use it to level up a few 60s to 70 still, but truth be told, this pre-patch event's been a snooze fest, honestly. It's not grabbed me, but that's cool. If we can get 467 from Remix, if that does end up being the case, I guess we'll find out in a week, right? 7 days of Remix left, I think. Okay. Reputation contracts are now warband wide in the War Within. I think we've known this for about 6 months now. Of course they are. Some people actually went as far as to actually craft and equip the contracts. I wonder if Wowhead went that far. Reputation contracts for the War Within factions are now warband wide, with players limited to signing 1 contract a week. Contract reward bonus reputation for major factions upon completing world quests. There are 4 contracts, A, B, C, and D. These are now considered warband contracts, with their effect being shared across your warband. Wow, that's the entire article. Oh god, it's a slow day at Wowhead, isn't it? Clearly. That's literally the entire... I thought they were going to do something a little bit more like they might have actually tested it and okay, flipping useless. The entire article. God damn, Wowhead. They've gone from recycling one article 3 times in a row to just repeating the articles from 3 months ago, clearly. Anyway, let's have a little bit of a look at this, shall we? The weekly economy report. Good old Samadan puts this together for us most weeks. What do we got then? Early jewel gathering. Strong contender for some goal making, especially early on, is some jewel gathering, usually mining and herbalism. Barriers to entry is relatively easy, and the region-wide auction house will mean that sales will be quick, but also rapidly responding to supply and demand. Likely to be high at first, then crash hard, depending on just how many people get involved. with it. Soul put a little video together going over initial builds and his thoughts on all 3 of the gathering professions. I watched this actually. This was quite good. Soul's like I said this the other day that Soul is a content creator that under normal circumstances you wouldn't really have expected to have jumped into the professions. But for the War Within, he's spent a little bit of time and effort putting together some basic videos for each of the professions, which were quite good. They were good. By all accounts, it looks like Blizzard have a concerted effort to spread the ranks further apart to encourage larger price differences between the ranks and make refining worthwhile. Yeah, your ratio of quality 1 to quality 2 to quality 3 is pretty dramatic. I mean, obviously, I've just done a bunch of gathering and I've done it with, like, no expertise whatsoever, but, like, I wasn't getting anything other than quality 1 materials, for example. You've got to be like 100 out of 100 skill before you even start getting quality 2 materials on a somewhat regular basis. And you need to start spending knowledge points before you even start seeing quality 3. So the difference in availability of the materials is a lot wider. I don't know how many of you remember leveling in Dragonflight, but by the time you were skill 100, you were quite consistently seeing quality 3 materials. And more importantly, the materials were like, who cares? It's all about getting the Awakened in Dragonflight. So Gathering has undergone quite some changes. You're way less focused on this sort of stuff. Powder, the samples, the leyline residue, and the viridescent spores. You're way less focused on these. You are actually more focused again on trying to get the materials and, more importantly, getting them at a higher quality, which is nice. I think that's what gathering should be. Your priority and your focus should be getting. If you're a herbalist, your focus should be getting more and getting better herbs. Sure, if you get some bonus materials out the back of it, great. But I tend to think that the base materials should be the focus. I think they've kind of got it right this time. Pushed it back in the right direction. Laminator has spent some time doing some jeweled gathering. Skills are 100 for both herbing and mining. We looked at this the other day, actually. This was quite handy. Fully maxed out plethora of ore, 185 knowledge points. Fully maxed out mining fundamentals, 110 knowledge points. Mastering the mysterious, 75 points, about halfway through the tree. So for reference here, this person has consistently, on a weekly basis, spent a good few hours doing herbing and mining on the beta, and has, by the end of the beta cycle, nearly maxed out their herbing and mining trees. Herbalism, fully maxed out bountiful harvests, 240 knowledge points. Fully maxed out botany, overloading the underground, 93, also about halfway through. So it looks like you should expect 8 to 10 weeks to fully max out your gathering trees, I suspect. But it's a good indication to just what turned up after you've nearly maxed your trees. If you look at the ratio here of rank 1 to rank 2 to rank 3, you can still see that you're mostly getting rank 1s. This might shift a little bit once you get proper profession tools, because I think they said here, yeah, tools for gathering were a bit tough to get in the beta. But once the game goes live, even gatherers should be able to get their tools, and that will definitely help with these ratios. But the takeaway from this is that you still get quality 1 more often than not. And then you get some quality 2s, and you get even less quality 3s, even once your spec trees are fully maxed. Ultimately meaning the first couple of weeks, quality 3s are going to be pretty rare in terms of base materials. relative to the amount of quality 1s and 2s you're going to get anyway. Same scenario for mining. Same business, really. This is a great indicator that over time, specializing and efficiency, along with things like tools, are going to matter, which will hopefully add some longevity to the professions over time. In the early days of Dragonflight, it took a month before Awakened Order dropped below 2,000 gold in the EU. I don't know how many of you are long time viewers enough to remember us talking about what we suspected Awakens would be during the Dragonflight beta. But I very quickly came to the conclusion that 500 gold apiece seemed about fair. And people were like, no, that's ridiculous. They're never going to cost that much. And then out of nowhere, Awakened Order was like 2k plus for ages. And even I'd underestimated how much they were going to be. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But that was back when Awakens were needed for everything. Like, literally, absolutely everything. They're not... These equivalents from the War Within are not needed in anywhere near the same quantities. Not even remotely close. So these should, in theory, be much cheaper and much more readily available. These are the byproducts that whatever you get for selling these... Well, I'll eat my hat if it ends up being the other way around. But it feels, at least by looking at the professions, that these will be relatively cheap. And these will be sort of something that, when you're gathering, is nice to get, but you're probably not going to spend much points into getting more of these, unless something wild happens. Which always could. Going to go mining, herbing, whilst leveling, maybe for the first few days, and then transition into alchemy. Playing blood is nice since you won't get days. Sky Golem still herbs whilst mounted with sky riding. It does. Sky Golem is in a much better position, by the way. Because it doesn't do its stupid wibbly wobbly business. It sky rides properly. Which is quite nice. It means the Sky Golem's going to be nice and OP. Unless you just happen to be a druid anyway. Will it even matter to level first or go straight into dual gathering? Things are slightly more complicated this round with easy access and how it plays out. Yeah, you need adventure mode. You got to get one dude to 80. If you listen to anything I have to say, get one character to 80 and do it ASAP. Once you've got one character to 80, you can do everything you ever want on level 70s. You'll be fine. But you got to get that first dude to 80 first. Get the campaign done, get to 80, unlock adventure mode. Then you can go play your alts all you like. That's the actual advantage of early access. Getting that first level 80 out the way. That means any restrictions they put on players doing things in early access, if you at least get one character to 80, it's worthwhile. Mostly because then you'll have adventure mode and you can go on and do whatever you want to do on all of your level 70s. What does adventure mode do to level 70 gathering? Well, the significant thing is that it's going to drop all of the mobs down to your level. You can go into any of the 4 zones and the mobs will be the same level that you are. Whereas if you try and do dual gathering before you get that one character to level 80, you are going to be level 71 and you are quite frequently going to get crushed by level 80s if you end up in, Ashkahet. So you need that one character to 80 first. Need to test a workaround for the weak aura, but finding a herb that I've not yet gathered is hard. See, this is the reason for the weak aura, right? I appreciate the effort, though. I wanted to buy out the entire order market at the start of Season 2 just to see what would happen, but it would have cost me 70 mil. Yeah, it did bounce around in price a few times during the expansion, didn't it? If you're making rank 2 goods, you can guarantee them with rank 1 raw mats. I'm not sure how important rank 2 will be. Ultimately, rank 1 and rank 2 will be very similarly priced. And they'll be much cheaper than rank 3. There's not going to be much of a price difference between rank 1 and rank 2. Because of that exact reason. Rank 1 and rank 2 intermediates are super easy to produce. The race and the chase is to be able to make the rank 3s effectively. And at best, even guaranteeing them. But when you are looking at crafting rank 3 materials and items, enchants, gems, this sort of stuff, if you are mass producing them, you have to also be using rank 3 base materials. So that's why there's going to be quite a big difference between rank 1s and rank 2s that are easy to make, and there's different ways of making them. But rank 3s, if you're mass producing rank 3s, you've got to also be using rank 3 materials. So that's going to bump the price up by like 2 or 3 times at least, I'd suspect. If you are one of those players that insists on using top quality everything, it's going to get quite expensive. You're going to be paying 2 or 3 times the price for everything. So, you know, if people want the best, they can have it, but it ain't going to be free this time round. A few factors to consider. Firstly, steady flight only unlocks after you've completed Pathfinder. This might be important for those who prefer speed over precision, but many, myself included, prefer to gather at a more relaxed pace that steady flight allows. Secondly, not all nodes are available in all zones, so it will help to be able to access all the zones early, which means following the campaign and leveling up for security. Yeah, basically what I've just reiterated, that just get one character to 80. Just get it done. Get your first toon to 80, and then you can do gold making things. You need to really unlock adventure mode before most profession stuff is useful. Samadan's highlighted my little video I did the other day. This was an accidental video. I didn't plan this video at all. I didn't really put much thought into it before I did it, but I was recording a blacksmithing leveling guide and it all went horribly wrong, and I decided to delete the character and start again. But before I deleted the character and started again, I was like, actually, there's another video option here. Because they have made some changes to the TLDR to this video, is that there are a few more paths that you can take to get to skill 100 now. You get to about 50, 60, and you still predominantly are driven towards doing some work orders. They have added another couple of ways, another couple of things that you can craft to get all the way to 100, which is quite nice. Means you're not necessarily in a do work orders or die situation, which was a bit frustrating in Dragonflight for many, me included. Some Mog got easier. Collecting transmog is something that many enjoy. Oh, this isn't turning up until 10.0.5 though, if that's what's being referred to. Hang on. Transmog collecting is something many enjoy, and it's a goal-making niche. It certainly has potential. Many advances into making collecting transmog easier, including adding support for the transmog in the character API. This will allow sites to better catalog what your character has collected, allowing you to target specific pieces. Oh, this isn't even going where I was expecting this to go. Is this just talking about the API? From a goal-making perspective, this will likely mean a surge in collectors tracking down their last bits and pieces. Now would be a perfect time to craft or farm some pieces and spread them over a few realms with your warband. If you fancy some cross-realm trading of transmog, Saddlebag Exchange has a specific category, for searching deals over several realms. Be aware, even with the renewed interest in transmog, they are still slow sellers and will take a while build up a stock and see consistent sales. Very, very true. Very true. Please, 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 massive disclaimers. Be aware that transmog is often way too much like hard work for most people. The amount of time you end up relisting auctions usually kills most people's desire to try and make gold with transmog. Moonguard, which is probably amongst the top 3 realms for transmog in the America region. That being said, it doesn't create miracles. One of my favourite mogs to sell is the ceremonial leather loincloth. On average, I need to post it 58 times just to make a single sale. Remember, that's one of the good ones. Key is to post every day or multiple times a day if you have the patience. Since most don't, I made over 300k gold on that item alone just by posting it twice a day. You have 33 items like that, that's 10 million gold a year. Good old extrapolation of maths there. 99% of transmog sales were on my main realm, which is Moonguard. I have roughly 50 auctions of mogs up at all time. I only sell medium to high value stuff. The only mog I farmed was from island expeditions, Silithus, Nax, and sometimes dungeons. Lots of the gold came from buying on other servers and then selling it on home realm. I also wouldn't sell on transmog or low on medium pop realms because the sale rate is already very low. It's a tale as old as time, genuinely. A tale as old as time, being that, you know, transmog is always, you know, it's the carrot on the end of the stick. You see items that turn up that are worth millions of gold. The reality is the difficulty, the time and the effort that you have to put into selling those damn things in the first place is usually not worth it for most. Bit of a facade, I might say. What's the point of this article? I'm not getting it. Yeah, I thought this was going in a different direction. This is apparently talking about the fact... Yeah, I don't know. This is just generally talking about transmog. The actual news around transmog is that for the longest of time on the beta, the new warband collection system would allow you to learn all of the appearances when completing a quest. So the cloth, the mail, the leather, the plate, whatever. If a quest gives a character a piece of gear relevant to their armor type, on the beta, you were able to complete that quest and you'd get all of the appearances for all of the different armor types. Now, warbands went live, Prepatch went live, and that didn't work. And people were like, why didn't that work? It worked on the beta perfectly fine. Blizzard didn't really say much at all until they came out a few days ago and said, it'll work again, but not until 10.0.5. So, I don't know. That feature, that functionality of warbands for collecting mog is coming back. It just isn't coming back straight away. Where do we get to then? Warbank cross-realm. Penguin put a video together talking about how to use the Warbank to sell cross-realm. Something that has previously needed 2 accounts to achieve, you can now do it with 1. True, true. This is great to open up markets and spreads non-commodity inventory over a bunch of different realms. Yeah, cross-realm selling is in theory going to be much easier now. There's part of me that wonders just how saturated this market will get. But without add-ons that can... There's quite a lot of kinks in the process of doing cross-realm selling that people don't necessarily always see before they try and do it. Inventory management is an absolute chronic nightmare if you're doing cross-realm selling. Absolute nightmare. Trying to figure out what you've got on what realms and where it needs to go. Horrendous amount of time and effort. Much like transmog. That's the bit that people don't really see. People don't really see. People are like, oh, I can buy this one thing from one realm and then sell it on another realm for more. Great, print money, right? Not really. Not really. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Penguin is usually quite embellished with their titles and thumbnails, so the whole doubling your gold with warbands is quite the claim. The concept here is that yes, you could buy something on one realm and sell it on another, and you basically use your war bank as the intermediate storage space for those items. Is your TLDR. If data store add-on can get the account of the warband inventory correct, I could foresee inventory management getting a lot easier. Knowing where things are is half the problem. It is only the first step of the thing, right? No, TSM can track where you've got things really easily. That's not necessarily the problem. It's knowing once you've bought stuff and when you've put it in your war bank, it's then knowing, because if you have to buy one item, put it in your war bank, then you've got to work out what realm you want to sell that on. You then need to take that item out of your war bank, and you then need to go post it on the auction house. What you preferably need to do is to be able to scale that. And that's the problem. Scaling it is significantly more difficult. What happens when you're buying and selling things on lots of different realms? Remembering where you got shit from and how much you paid for it when you bought it from one place and where you should go and sell it. And what happens if the place you go to take it to sell it, the price tanks on it because 7 other people did the same. You then need to put it back in your war bank and then send it somewhere else. The logistics of cross-realm selling is the bit that will absolutely break most people. If you can figure it out and you can work it out and, I don't know, keep spreadsheets or do whatever the hell you need, there's a lot of gold to be made in it. But even with warbands, it's not as simple as it sounds. It's really not as simple as it sounds. Will we ever be able to withdraw items from cross-realm guilds? They are planning on getting cross-realm guild bank working again. It's just broken right now. Guild banks are just broken right now. They've actually said it's going to be fixed soon. I think it's going to be launched for... It's going to be fixed again for the actual expansion launch, I believe. What they've claimed. There might be a corner for intermediate materials by maxing... I presume you mean ingenuity and using concentration to optimize how many rank 3 intermediate materials you can produce with rank 2 mats. I would say more often than not, stacking ingenuity is the wrong choice. By stacking ingenuity, you're usually doing that at the cost of something else. If you choose to stack ingenuity, that means you're going to have less multicraft and less resourcefulness, which are 2 stats that are usually significantly more valuable to you. Stacking ingenuity is more often than not the wrong choice. Because usually ingenuity only has a 50% refund by default, meaning it has to proc twice before you can do anything with it anyway. It has to proc twice so that you have enough concentration to press the button again. But don't forget that when you press the button, you also have to provide the materials to make that thing. So it's not a freebie. Whereas multicraft, when it procs, gives you free things. Multicraft is always far ahead in value as the secondary stat. You could have like 20% multicraft chance or 70% ingenuity chance, and I'd still take multicraft more often than not. There is maths there depending on how much of each one you have. This is where something like craft sim will tell you. But the general rule is multi-craft and resourcefulness as stats are going to be worth way more than ingenuity. I've even done specific videos on my perspective on this, and this is because I see a lot of people coming to the same conclusion. A lot of people are like, oh, well, if I'm limited on concentration, the secondary stat that gives me more concentration must be the best, right? And it's not the right assumption to make. Mathematically, resourcefulness and multi-craft will always win. But Craft Sim will tell you. Once the game goes live, Craft Sim will tell you. But okay, that was the little economy report for the week. Only 3 comments. Quiet week. Great post, Samadan. Thank you. Great post. Why is nobody mentioning that Druid flight form is still 310 flight speed? Mounts, including the saw ratio, now are up to 420. Are they? Is Druid flight form slower? I hadn't even noticed. Get to 80 on a main, and then level an alt with Dawn Gathering. Yes. Yes. Easy money. Easy money. Get a dude to 80 and then gather. If you don't want to deal with any of the stress, with any of the complexity that comes from the crafting professions, get one character to 80 and then go gather on an alt. And you will print money. You'll make gold faster than you know how to spend it. Ingenuity is only good when you can't reach the difficulty like gear and weapons, where you also won't have multi-craft. I would also point out, even in those scenarios, resourcefulness is still better. Resourcefulness is still better. Because whilst that is a scenario, that is likely to also be early on in the expansion, and that's also at the point when any resourcefulness proc is money, because crafting everything's going to be expensive. If you get a resourcefulness proc on some rank 3 ingots, that's worth significantly more to you than a little bit more ingenuity, which you may or may not actually even be able to use. There is so few scenarios where ingenuity is the right choice. My recommendation to most is ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. Stack multi-craft, stack resourcefulness, and you'll be good. Choose to stack ingenuity, there will be other players that will have a much better time. What is adventure mode exactly? Adventure mode is basically giving you access to all of the world quests and the weekly quests and the likes. And it also activates the mob scaling. So the mobs scale to whatever your level is. So as I am level 71 on this toon right now, for example, if I was to go down to Ashgahet, which is technically the 4th zone, the mobs will scale down to me. If before I unlock adventure mode, the mobs out here are like level 78, 80, and I'd get just, wrecked. So you get one character, unlock adventure mode, and then you can freely travel, do things such as gathering. But, boys and girls, I've got some videos to put together. I have my guide updates for my guide. I have a few things I need to get sorted, so I'm gonna finish the stream there for today. There will be no stream tomorrow. I'm only going to be streaming 3 days this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, mostly because I've got so much more stuff that I'm trying to get done for the expansion launch, such as YouTube content and finishing the guide and stuff like that, so slightly less streaming this week. Come say hi over in the Discord if you're not there already. I can't keep up with the amount of chatter that's going on in the Discord at the moment. I log on, turn my computer on, or look at my phone most mornings, and there's hundreds of... I just can't keep up. It's quite busy now at the moment, which is nice. But come say hi if you haven't already. We'll be back streaming on Wednesday, but keep your eyes peeled on the YouTube for some more leveling guides and what we did today in getting 450 Artisans Acuity. I will put into a little something something. Got the week aura now. You only need to check your herbalism journal once a session. Nice, that's quite cool. That's pretty handy. I'll have a little bit of a look at that. Yeah, stop chatting in Discord. It's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, boys and girls. Thank you all for joining. Hope you had hope you had fun. Hope you learnt something. I know I definitely did. Yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday. Is anybody live at this time of the day? There's usually not many people. I usually let you pick and choose where you want to go. What's Zan doing? Is Zan streaming? Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. My Twitch doesn't seem to want to load properly. Oh, Holdan's streaming. Holdan's streaming. You may know him from his super duper mega fast leveling guides. Go. He's going to be testing some beta. What's he doing? Gearing a new Brewmaster monk. Send you over that way. Let's spread the love somewhere where we haven't before. Now, of course, this is only Team Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to have to let you navigate to wherever you please. Where's my dashboard button gone? There we go. Send you over that way. Yeah, Haldan is responsible for all of your super duper mega fast leveling guides. So he's pretty snazzy at min-maxing. I actually saw some of you lurking over there the other day, so some of you already know who he is. Anyway, have yourselves a good one. Thank you very much, boys and girls. I'll see you all next time. Peace.